And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Monday Night Chill stream. Welcome to the show. We're having particularly bad internet tonight, so hopefully Hopefully you're watching this in a rerun and the lag isn't too terrible, because I'm looking at myself on the screen right now and it already looks fucking horrible. But you go to war with the army you have, not the army you wish you had. Anyway, it's Monday. What is it? February 20. What day is today? What's today's date? 21st. Last week's show got 39 views and 7 likes. Then not counting the one that I give myself. So that was pretty good, I thought, for Valentine's Day. A bunch of guys, at least 39 people are not cucked. They aren't, doing whatever wifey says or whatever mistress says. So that's good news. But there's always stuff going on. Do we have war with Canada? You know what I mean? Or war with Russia? I don't know. They're both cold. There's a lot of snow there. There's authoritarian governance in both places, and a lot of things going on. For me personally, tonight's Monday night. Really not joking. Saturday night, I almost went to the hospital because driving down to Virginia through the Fort McHenry Tunnel on 95 southbound between the Fort McHenry Tunnel and BWI, Thurgood Marshall Airport. Some dude in a white, I don't know what the color is. It's like pearl white or mother of pearl, white Cadillac CTS, which is the hot rod Cadillac, was doing about 125-ish miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic, missed me by about 20 feet. Missed me by 20 feet, went across the roadway, three lanes, right, because he passed me. And I'm doing 70. He was doing at least $1.25, like at least. And passed me, starts to go on a ramp, like he's not going to make this ramp. He's not going to make it around this ramp. I don't know if he realized the road suddenly turned and he thought it was going to go straight or whatever. He hits the brakes, does nothing. It was 27 degrees at the time. Your tires aren't warm. They're not sticky. The road is frozen, So he skids off the road down into a ditch, up this dirt mound. And no lie, the car flies 10, 12 feet in the air, like 10, 12 feet in the air, like the height of two men. And there's a stand of trees, and the trees are like big, thick trees, like 4 feet in diameter, 6 feet in diameter, whatever. The car just hits them and falls straight down. And I saw the whole thing. Like I said, because I looked at my rear view, saw this guy doing the highway shark thing, missed me by feet. And that's it. I don't think he made it out of there. I don't know if he was alone, whatever, what the deal was. But I've said before, the greatest physical danger to me is likely something like that. And that very, very nearly happened this Saturday past. Sunday, much less eventful. Sunday was really, really boring, in fact. And I had to wait for 3 hours at the airport for a piece to come in from Chicago. And so that waiting time, I had so much free time waiting for this flight to land from Chicago that I went to like the liquor store. I went to one grocery store, the black one near the airport, near Newark Airport. Then I drove home. Judas Fly Chai, hey, blessings. It's a long time no see. I drove home from the black supermarket, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let me go to the same brand supermarket where I live and see if I can get because I want to get a piece of beef. So I got a top round, like about 2 4/10 of a pound, just about 2.5 pounds, which I used to make Juvetzi with. And then anyway, so I did all of that. And then I got back to the airport and I still had time to wait before this flight landed from Chicago. And I got this piece and I drove up to White Plains. So that was my day Sunday. But Saturday was my almost joined the ranks of cripples, or I almost got killed. If this guy would have hit me in that car at the speed he was going, I certainly would not be here today. You know what I mean? Like I would be in the hospital or still trying to sort stuff out. Delcroix, welcome to the show, Delcroix. I sent you the link on Gab. I don't know if you never acknowledged it. Um, but Delcroix, hi James, 2:30 a.m. Usually download, listen to MP3 when I'm out and about. Yeah, cheers. Listen, Delcroix, get your rest. You don't have to watch it live. You can watch it in rerun. Or listen to it in rerun. But thanks for showing up. Thanks for even bothering to show up in the chat. So so that was my weekend, and it was a couple of things. Everything was like this whole week was like near misses. Like there was a bunch of things. I had a dental issue that I thought was going to cost me many thousands of dollars, but it's only going to cost me about $1,000, and that's the good outcome. And I'm like, okay, do that. So I got to get a filling from like 40 years ago fixed that I thought I was going to have to get an implant. Delcroix, Gab closed at the moment. Just caught you tonight. Gab is, are they down again? Are they being hacked or something? What are they doing? I bought like 500 shares of Gab in 2016, and I thought I was going to get rich off it, but that hasn't happened yet. Even though it's 2022. So hopefully they can get their shit together and become the mega super social media thing, bigger than Trump's. What is Trump's thing? Trump's next failure, Truth Social or something. What a fucking horror show that's going to be. That's just going to be like kosher. That's going to be like the circular bagel economy. You know what I mean? The first person who says, Israel or the Jews or whatever, just boom, 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 booted, kicked. It's going to be a disaster. There's nothing that guy's doing right, in my opinion. He did that Leslie Stahl interview on 60 Minutes, and he's crying like he's a victim. Like, oh, they spied on my campaign. What was the Secret Service doing? Are they not monitoring your communications? Like, what is the Secret Service for if not to protect the campaigns? You know what I mean? So whatever. He's playing a victim because he figures blue collar America feels victimized by the recent events, and they'll identify with him. The problem is victims don't get anything done, right? And he's going to be a pretty fat target for the DeSantis campaign for going, well, if you get elected again, right? You were the 45th president. If you get elected again as the 47th president, do you actually going to do the things you promised this time, or you're just going to go let Jared Kushner run shit like he did last time? So it's going to be interesting. Delcroix in the chat, the Groyper-Wignat debacle is funny, but it's a sad state of affairs for all the Western world. Well, it isn't. Yes, you have to. If you think that other people are going to come to the rescue, or the Zoomers are going to rescue us, or whatever, it's just not going to happen. The world is controlled by the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is controlled by the Federal Reserve Bank of America. It's run by small hats and a few elites, the Rockefellers, a few others. And until the power of the dollar is dethroned, things are going to be as bad or they are worse. And there's going to be no change, right? As long as the money we're using to do everything is issued and controlled by Jews, ain't going to be no change. That's why I became such a Bitcoin maximalist, because I believe that to be the single most likely replacement for world reserve currency. I don't see any other nation in a position to supplant the U.S. because the central banks that started with the Rothschilds in Germany in 1575 and spread throughout Europe and then eventually took over the United States in 1913, or rather, essentially took over the United States in 1913 and have slowly since taken over the globe. Until you fix that, you're not going to fix anything. Like Bitcoiners always say, fix the money, fix the world. And that's far truer than most people want to admit. You're not going to have any movement or any group or whatever that's going to get anything done because they're not going to advance unless they have financing. They're only going to get financing if they are kosher approved. And kosher approved means nothing changes for us. So that's why I tell people don't get involved in any of this stuff. Be smart, trade your Zog bucks for Bitcoin, and wait for your opportunity. That's That's my worldview. I haven't heard a good argument against it. That's what I practice what I preach. So that's that. So all right, let's do some screen shares since Mr. Delcroix has joined us from the Emerald Isle, right? The land of Ireland, the land of Bushmills Irish whiskey. Even though I don't think Delcroix is from the Protestant part, I think he's from the Catholic part. But nonetheless, Bushmills Irish whiskey. I never realized that the Irish put their politics into their whiskey, which I think is probably unwise. But it's your choice to make. This is, I got a bunch of stuff, tons of stuff that I just to reinforce my worldview, that I find on social media, but from fairly, I would argue, fairly prestigious sources, right? So was this going to come up here? Or how bad is my internet going to be tonight? How bad is I should probably shut that, right? If I shut the music part, maybe I'll free up some resources in my cache. And Trad Dad, welcome to the show. Trad Dad, seen you before. So what do we got? We're gonna get the screen share? We're not gonna get the screen share. Come on, bro. What am I going to do? What if I click that? There we go. This is from the magazine of the U.S. Senate, United States Committee on Foreign Relations. It says, El Salvador, recognizing Bitcoin as official currency, opens the door for money laundering cartels and undermines the U.S. interest. Yeah, because none of the Colombian cartels ever used U.S. cash for cocaine deals, said Dr. Cassidy, apparently someone who was delivering a speech or a briefing to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, highlighted in yellow. If the United States wishes to combat money laundering and preserve the role of the dollar as a reserve currency of the world, we must tackle this issue head on. Again, this is from United States Senate Committee on Foreign Relations. So people think that, I'm just some crazy dude sitting in a one-bedroom apartment in New Jersey talking about, Bitcoin's going to take over the world, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, yeah, go drive another box from Philly to fucking Baltimore, you fucking jerk. But shockingly, the U.S. Senate seems to be getting briefings on the very things that I'm talking about. And that may come as a big surprise to the Wignats and the Groypers, who are living in a crazy place, but who are, I consider them all they're either controlled opposition or they are worthless. I'm going to show you a picture of a guy. I just found out I could do this, by the way. I didn't know you could actually bookmark tweets. Out this afternoon. This guy, by the way, not a Chad. Just so you know, you think, am I going to see a picture of Chad Chadley? See how far as the Prince Making Global Narrative. Council on Foreign Relations. What was that? Like the 70s? We're at WEF. You gotta update your acronyms for Rothschild's Front Group. Rothschild's Front Group. By the way, I've been drinking all afternoon. So if I fuck shit up, you're just gonna have to assume that I'm a fuck up. I haven't been drinking that much. Just a little vino. Since I got all my tests done yesterday while I was waiting for aircraft parts. All I did today was work out way too much. My fucking hips and legs are crazy sore. Did some dry fire stuff, and that's it. And I cooked. Okay, this is a guy named Charlie Munger, Munger. Charlie Munger. He is the something like the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, right? Berkshire Hathaway is the
stock market is
is the what's his name? Warren Buffett, the third richest man in the world. That's his investment company. So I'm gonna give you a little audio from Charlie Munger. I'm gonna try and cut it down. This was a couple of days ago on Yahoo Finance Live, and Charlie Munger is talking about inflation, the Roman Empire, and political instability. The whole clip is 3 minutes and 6 seconds. I'm going to skip past the first minute, and so just here, take a listen. Of course, it's a big long-range danger. If you look at the Roman Republic, even after they went to a empire with an absolute ruler, they inflated the currency steadily for hundreds of years, and eventually the whole damn Roman Empire collapsed. So it's the biggest long-range danger we have, probably, apart from nuclear war.
Is it something investors need to be worried about, specifically when it comes to growth stocks right now?
Well, I think the safe assumption for an investor is that over the next 100 years, the currency is going to zero. That's my working hypothesis.
Wow. Well, that'll be a different type of environment, won't it?
A very dangerous environment.
And what about the
What brought in Hitler was the combination of the Weimar inflation, where they utterly destroyed the savings of the middle class in Germany, followed by the Great Depression. It was a 1-2 punch. And Hitler came in, crazy demagogue, with 40% of the votes, and pretty soon we had a dictator hell-bent for world war. So, all right, so that's Charlie Munger, right? This guy's a billionaire, right? He's the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. This is Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand man. What's he talking about? Collapse of the Roman Empire, hyperinflation, and Adolf Hitler. Does this motherfucker subscribe to my channel or what? Because that's what I've been talking about for like the past few months, right? So on some level, and this guy hates Bitcoin. I'm not saying he's a pro Bitcoin guy. He hates Bitcoin like from the moment his eyes open in the morning until his head hits the pillow at night. He fucking hates it in every way you can hate it. Why not? You became a billionaire in the fiat system. You're going to not like anything that challenges the system that made you what you are, even though you can see the motherfucker's 110 years old. He's got one foot in the grave. He's got another foot on a fucking banana peel. One wrong move and boom, 6 feet under he goes. Nonetheless, they put TV cameras on him and he's like, I'm a super rich guy. Even like his glasses you could take his glasses in the woods and start like forest fires. You know what I mean? Like his glasses could turn the sun into a fucking laser. However, he sees the world remarkably similar to how I describe current events, right? And there's a bizarre thing with selective attention. I talk about selective attention on this channel all the time. People talk about IQ, education, blah, 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 blah. And I throw all that shit overboard because selective attention is all that matters. There's certain things you're paying attention to, and there's other things you're going to miss. Seamus Crawford, welcome to the show. And Charlie Munger, being a money guy, right? Munger being a money guy, studies the money aspect, but not like where it comes from and who controls it, right? Because it's just his life is too good and he doesn't want to. Nobody wants to see how the sausage is made, right? They just want to eat the sausages. You know what I mean? You don't really want to see how it's all actually made, you know? So this is Charlie Munger. This was only a couple of days ago. Now, if you go on Yahoo Finance videos, you can see that, but they cut the Hitler part. They stopped it at like fall of the Roman Empire. But I heard that, I was like, this guy said inflation, Roman Empire, Adolf Hitler, which is like the last 4 shows I fucking said. I did. I talked, about all of that. So I'm super tickled that these people they say exactly what I say, except, they're old and rich and they're on television, and I'm not so old and not so rich. I'm sure it's fuck on television. But so here's a picture of CPI or Consumer Price Index inflation from 17. I'm going to show you a screen share from 70-75 to today. Yeah, Delcroix. Yes, Charlie Munger is still alive. The thing about the coin clippers is the coin clippers are now central bankers, right? This is what you have to understand. They have adapted from coin clipping to counterfeiting paper money to now counterfeiting electronic money, because most financial transactions in the world today, the large ones at any rate, are electronic, right? It's most of the dollars on the planet Earth are really digital. They're not physical. Tradad, something DC alone, 100% law firms. Northwest DC alone is home to 100 plus think tanks, NGOs, and law firms that hold the globe's nut. No, the central bankers hold the globe's nut, and all those people you described work for the central bankers. They live off the central bankers. Okay, here we have Figure 1, Consumer Price Index, United States, 1775 to the year 2012. So on the far left of this chart, you see that there's, this blue line kind of bumps up slightly. That's the Revolutionary War. Then kind of dips, goes a little bit sideways until there's another slight little bump, which is the War of 1812, the second piece of text you see on the left-hand side. Then the prices dip and dip and dip and dip until there's another bump, which is the Civil War. And then prices gradually decline until World War I. The inflation spikes, the CPI spikes. It stays relatively high. World War II kicks off after that. And then you see the Consumer Price Index go absolutely fucking nuclear, like straight up after 1970. 1971, when the U.S. no longer was restrained by the gold standard, when we just decided to absolutely print as much as we wanted, regardless of how much we had in the gold reserves. Now you see the Consumer Price Index, and this is like a basket of everyday consumables. It's like beef, it's milk, it's eggs, it's energy, it's whatever, okay? But for up until 1970, everything was, well, not outrageous. I mean, inflation was relatively under control. But after 1971, you have insane runaway inflation, right? And then you have all this social unrest, the 60s, the 70s, right? All that social unrest. The 80s, they kind of got under control a little bit, but the neocons come in. The 90s, bombing the crap out of Serbia, the Middle East, all of this stuff. More war, more social decay, As you see that spike, let me do it. What am I doing? It would be this way, right? You see it goes up on the right-hand side of the screen. Society falls apart because the money stops working. It's not a failure of Jesus. It's not a failure of whatever. The money stops working, so people start doing other shit. That's the reality. And when the money really, really completely quits, you're going to see all-out war against, like, civil unrest, like to make the fires of 2 years ago look like a fucking namby-pamby. You know what I mean? It's going to be crazy. And what I tell people, and I don't know when that's going to happen. It's going to happen next year. It's going to happen 5 years from now. I'm not 100% sure. Like, I don't have the exact timing of this. But I'm going to tell people, don't get involved in these stupid political movements. Don't believe any fucking thing you see on TV or anything anybody fucking tells you that's not logical, that you can't fucking reach out and touch. And do what you can to protect yourself and those you care about. That's what I tell people, because that's worthwhile. A subtly nuanced neo-reactionary critique of neoliberal, I don't like, fuck you, like, fuck all of you stupid retards. Get the fuck out of here. We're in a fucking war here. You know what I mean? And when you trade your green Zog bucks in America, they're green Zog bucks. In Europe, they're different. Like in Canada, it's rainbow money. In England, I think it's rainbow money as well. the money's like 17 different colors. Like you need to trade that for something that they don't control as fast as you can. And if you think, well, they don't control gold and silver, technically they do, but gold and silver are not the value that that you think it is, right? You think, oh, but they can't do this and that. They can't hurt us if we have shiny metal discs in a hardened steel box in our house. And I'm telling you, they will find a way, right? Ultimately, in the end, they can find a way. And I've said this for a while. If you defy the central bankers, if you defy any political regime, they're going to make you homeless and starving. And that's far worse than any overly dramatic fantasy you have about assassins sneaking into your house at night and shooting you in the back of the head twice and calling it suicide, right? This is a tweet from just the other day. The Minister Friedland, who's apparently one of the ministers in Canada, says, the way to get your account unfrozen is to stop being part of the Freedom Convoy protest efforts. Talking about the truckers in Canada, right? So you can't get access to your money. All the wealth you've piled up in Canadian dollars and stored in their banks is no longer available to you because the government decided that you have the wrong political opinions, and therefore you don't get your money, right? You're not allowed to have that. So what is this? Let me see another one. Which one I got here? This seems to be working moderately well. Oh no, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. For all you people who think that gold and silver are going to save people, like, yeah, well, paper money's worthless, blah blah blah, fiat. You like almost have it, but here's the thing: you don't have. Here's the thing: what I want to tell you that you don't have. Hold on, I need more alcohol. More alcohol. This is not going to work unless we have more alcohol. So the thing about them freezing your bank account is they can freeze your bank account. And people are like, oh, gold and silver coins, blah, 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 blah. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to take your gold coin out into the park and throw it up in the air and hope like a Canada goose comes by and grabs it in its beak and flies out over to where the truckers are and drops the fucking coin in the trucker's lap? Is that what you're just going to go throw silver coins in the fucking air and hope a bird catches it in its beak and flies to Canada with it? Is that what you're going to do? Because that's pretty fucking dumb. This is what works. This is what will work. The reason why all the Bitcoin people that talk about censorship resistance and the separation of money and government or money and state, this is what we're talking about, right? And it's a great thing for Americans. A lot of Americans and a lot of Canucks are getting orange pilled right now because, obviously GoFundMe tried to steal $10 million. The alternative to GoFundMe, a site called Give, Send, Go, got hack attacked and shut down. But one thing that did get through was Bitcoin. Tweet from Bitcoin Becca, right? She retweeted this guy, Tim Pastor. Trucker receives $8,000 in Bitcoin on a live stream, right? You cannot stop the signal. They can't stop Bitcoin. They want to. They're going to try to, but they can't stop it. The idea that you can send the value, that you can send money to anyone, anywhere on the planet in 10 fucking minutes and nothing can stop you is an idea far more powerful than any of your ideological bullshit. Because nobody, regardless of ideology, wants to be homeless and starving, living in a fucking cardboard box, right? You don't want to do that. That's not the life you want to live, And if you have a wife and children, you sure as fuck don't want that. Who's in the chat? Tread that. I love the fact that guys are building wealth with crypto, not crypto, Bitcoin. Crypto is a scam. How much longer before Uncle Sam pulls a Federal Reserve 2.0 on it? All crypto is a scam. Bitcoin is the only thing that's legitimate. All crypto is a scam. Bitcoin is the only thing that's legitimate. I'm going to say it again. Here, I'll type it in the chat. All crypto is a scam, Bitcoin is the only thing that's legit. I'll put that in the chat for Trad Dad, who apparently cannot fucking wake up in the morning and take a piss without permission from the government. Crypto is a scam. Everything after Bitcoin is a scam to make you think it's better, faster, whatever than Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5, 10, 20, 100.0. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's all centralized. It's all a scam. Tried that. I've seen tax forms this year making you claim crypto holdings. How do you escape it? Crypto is considered like securities by the SEC. Bitcoin is considered property. You do not pay taxes on Bitcoin until you sell Bitcoin for USD. Now, Bitcoin is property. A farm tractor is property. A house is property. A toolbox is property. If you barter property for property, there's no taxes. Okay? Yeah, look a bit deeper into this. Look a bit deeper into this. We got to go, man. We got to like so many fucking things we got to do. Where's okay? Here's what they're trying to do. They do not want you to fucking buy Bitcoin. They do not want you to buy and hold Bitcoin. They are doing everything in God's green earth to scare the shit out of you. Now, the longer you're in Bitcoin, the more you learn a little nomenclature. There's something called FUD, F-U-D, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And there are various different people online and entities, online and otherwise, that spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And here's a big one, and this one came directly from the White House. Jonathan Pohl, not a Bitcoin guy, but he should be. Welcome to the show, sir. Welcome to the show. So here's a tweet from February 17th of this year. Just in, FBI to form national cryptocurrency unit focusing on the seizure of virtual assets like Bitcoin and blockchain analysis. Yeah, good luck with that. The FBI couldn't find his ass using two hands and a fucking map. Okay? The FBI is too busy helping pedophiles get out of fucking jail and retire safely to fucking Tel Aviv. You know what I mean? Or investigating hate crimes where some nappy-headed Negro writes fucking, colored only by the fucking water fountain and claims a fucking hate crime. You know what I mean? So that's FUD. That came directly from the White House. Biden's going to issue an executive order. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we're going to seize. You can't fucking seize it. Once you properly understand how Bitcoin works, you're going to understand they can't do this. They cannot take your Bitcoin if you custody it yourself. That is to say, you buy it and then you save it on some type of USB device. Now, why can't I leave it on the exchange? Why can't I leave it in the bank like I leave my US dollars in the bank? The reason why is because they can't protect you. They're going to do whatever the regulators and the US government says. And this is the tweet from the CEO of Kraken, the Kraken crypto exchange, which is started out in England, but they have a US branch as well. They have a bank in the US now. So the CEO of Kraken, this is from a guy who tweeted this, Neil Jacobs, take custody of your Bitcoin. Do not leave it on the exchange. The CEO of Kraken is Jesse Powell. 100% yes, it has/will happen. And 100% yes, we will be forced to comply. If you're worried about it, don't keep your funds with any centralized/regulated custodian. We cannot protect you. Get your coins and cash out and only trade person to person or peer to peer. Actually, saying peer to peer. So that's the CEO of Kraken, probably the second largest crypto exchange on the face of the earth, telling you that if the government tells them to seize your Bitcoin and you left your Bitcoin in the exchange, you lose, right? Straight up telling you that that's going to happen, right? And then what's going to happen to you? Then here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to be homeless. You're going to be homeless and starving. And then this is what I like this one. I don't know if I showed this last week. I can't remember. I don't know if you guys know this. I sometimes drink too much on this fucking stream. Future number, like if you hang on to the US dollar, eventually you feed and find out you click like on the wrong fucking Pepe, and you're going to be homeless and starving and living in the New York subway. June, welcome to the show. And when you're living in the New York subway, you're going to have to fight this rat for a slice of pizza, and it's going to be cold too. It's not going to be a hot slice. So you're going to be in a position where you have to fight a rat for a slice of pizza, and you're not going to be thinking about the subtly nuanced critique of Martin Luther's third viewpoint of the whatever the fuck, of Jonathan Locke's tabla rosa fucking concept. You're not going to be thinking about that. You're literally going to be fighting a rat for a slice of pizza. And I know what you're saying, James. I don't live in New York City. Okay? I'm not going to be fighting a rat for a slice of pizza. You know what I mean? And maybe you don't. Maybe you don't live in New York City. You're not a city guy like me. You don't know how to fight rats for pizza. You know what I mean? I could probably do that. I could probably win that fight. Maybe you are someone who lives in the in a rural area, and I'm telling you, to be perfectly honest, you might not be in as good a shape as you think, because if you live in a rural area, this could be your fate. This is your likely fate. Holly the cook, she could beat that rat. I bet you can. She's got a ton of knives. She's got all kind of knives. She'll probably bake. She'll probably bake a cake shaped like cheese, so the rat gets faked out, and then she can get the food. So for those of you people who live in the woods, you might have to fight a squirrel for a Chinese egg roll. You know what I mean? So this is a squirrel eating an egg roll in a tree. Now, Holly the cook in the chat, I'm starting to grow crops inside this year. I will have peppers and tomatoes and other stuff. Good, I'm coming over. We'll make stuffed peppers. And she bought a USB device. Good for you, Holly. Okay, so here's the thing. If you have to climb a tree and fight a squirrel, which, let's face it, squirrels are really rats. They just have fluffy tails. It's like a rat with an afro. That's really what a squirrel is. It's just a rat with an afro. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So you got to climb the tree. Then you got to fight the squirrel for the egg roll. And, listen, if you fall out of the tree, you're in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? Most of you aren't that athletic. So what I'm suggesting to you is don't hold your wealth in the US dollar. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to fight a rat for a slice of pizza, or you have to fight a squirrel for some cold, greasy egg roll from some crappy Chinese restaurant. Don't do that. Think ahead now. Try to be low time preference, right? Try to imagine that the current trends are going to continue, and get worse, and think of how you can protect yourself and those you care about. That's what I talk about on this show, and I show tons of stuff that just reinforces my worldview. Holly the cook, if you see a hairless squirrel, they will say they are for sure rodents. I've seen them around here. there's actually in Yonkers. There's actually black. There really are black squirrels. They look like everything's black from head to toe. And I was like, the first time I saw one on in Yonkers, I thought, oh look, that's like a rat with an afro. Very racist. I'm very racist when it comes to creatures that dwell in parks. Various different four-legged things. What is this? Yeah, okay. So, okay, here's like it's not a surprise to anyone. This is like no great. It's no great revelation, but this is the world you're going to live in, and then the people you're going to interact with are going to be very influenced by this, right? You're going to be influenced by stuff like this. This is actually a headline from 3 years ago, like 2018, or a news story, I should say, not a headline. God bless the world's slowest internet through my phone. Nothing frustrates me more. I didn't even get to my notes. I'm just doing all these screen shares. So this is a story from Goldman Sachs. It's like a 2018 story. Is curing patients a sustainable business model, right? There are people sitting like they have millions and multiple millions of dollars, and they just sit around and think, how can they extract more value from you? Like, how can they keep you just alive enough that you can produce value for them, right? But they don't ever let you get healthy enough to actually enjoy your existence. That's how sick these fucking people are. And there is no evil, there is no consequence that will befall them that will make me shed a tear. You know what I mean? In fact, the more extreme the consequence that befalls them, the more likely I am to fucking shout with joy. And I'm saying that because I'm trying not to Fed post. That's a very overly flowery sentence, which is me trying really hard not to Fed post. Tried that. I've noticed birds, mice, and squirrels around DC getting hostile for food now that less humans move around. I guess the territories are getting bigger, and territorial dominance is a biological imperative, man. Territorial dominance is a biological imperative, and it's not a joke that if you have red-tailed squirrels and black-tailed squirrels, they don't live together. They don't share space. They fight for dominance. One's going to win over the other in this area, and that's that. They're going to drive the others out. And you say, well, they're both squirrels. What's the difference? But there's that drive to absolutely dominate this space is a very real thing. With human beings, it's more complex. There's more incentives. There's more motivations. There's more nuance than animals, obviously. But those same drives, though buried deep, still exist within us. So I guess I'll talk. Well, you know what? I should talk about that guy. Here's the thing. As much as I really am like a super insane Bitcoin dude, the problem with Bitcoin is there's a lot of fucking stoners in Bitcoin. There's a lot of people that like taking mushrooms and smoking weed all the fucking time. And they're always like, well, I suggest you take control of your money, right? You custody your own Bitcoin. There are people that are screaming on Twitter, like, hey, get your money off the exchanges. Everything, the worst is going to happen. There were dudes like Michael Saylor who personally owns like 11,000 Bitcoin, personally, right? And the company he controls owns like 100,000 Bitcoin. You know what I mean? If something's going to happen, the FBI is going to whack Michael Saylor, or they're going to grab him, or whatever. Or Max Kaiser, who's a guy who's a Wall Street guy who was buying Bitcoin when it was $1. Max Kaiser was telling JP Morgan to buy Bitcoin when it was $10. Lord knows how much fucking Bitcoin this guy has. Max Kaiser, you might have seen him around if you follow Bitcoin stuff, once gave a laptop computer to Alex Jones with 50,000. You heard that right. 50,000 Bitcoins on it. And Alex Jones lost the fucking laptop, probably to some meth smoking transsexual. You know what I mean? Gone. 50,000 Bitcoins, gone. I doubt Max Kaiser ever gave anyone anything else ever again. But A lot of people who you think, oh my God, they're super geniuses, they understand every facet. No, they understand some things, other things they got wrong, like Charlie Munger. You know what I mean? He understands inflation. He understands why the Roman Empire fell. He understands how insane dictators like Adolf Hitler comes to power. He gets all that. He just doesn't see the role of the coin clippers and the central bankers in it. He misses that. That's the selective attention thing. That's where the people are, they're playing basketball in the black shirts versus the white shirts. And in the middle is a guy in a monkey suit, and he goes right through the game. And half the people who watch that video don't see the monkey. And the guy in the monkey suit. And when I first saw that video, I did not see the guy in the monkey suit. And then you play back the video and you go, no fucking way. You're fucking with me. That didn't really happen. No, it really happened. So we all have that. You have to focus on family and this and that, and you're going to miss certain things. We try not to miss certain things. We look at the fucking world and all of this stuff and go like, oh shit, okay, this is important, that's important. This is it. Like I'm gonna focus on X, Y, and Z, and I'm good. I got it. You know what I mean? Like I got it. But there's always stuff you're going to be missing. So that's the extraordinary value, really, of free speech, is that you get to hear points of view that are different than yours that may, fingers crossed, put your mind in a different place where you maybe can see things that you normally don't see because of selective attention, because you're focused on other things. Are those things important? Are they valuable to you? Well, you're going to make that decision, right? In a world of social media, which is a nonstop tidal wave of content, most of which is crap, and most of which has somebody, on screen saying, you need to send your resources to me in order to be a good person or smarter or better or whatever. That's the overwhelming majority of sales and of social media for a while, and that there's not a whole lot of content like this that says, listen, they're all crooks. In your heart they're all crooks, and none of them have your best interest at heart. None of them care whether you live or die. It's all about resource extraction, and you need to, what limited resources you have, you need to husband them wisely, right? And what does that look like for you? Those are hard questions. They're not easy questions. I don't have the answers written down in my fucking book. Oh, look, here's the perfect fucking recipe for you. Here's the perfect roadmap for you. No one can do that. Like, I can't do that. I'm just some fucking dude who drives boxes for a living in New Jersey, like screaming into the void and hoping that people hear this and go, oh, you know what? That part made sense. You know what? That I can do. Like maybe I can take a couple of steps in that direction. And that's all I can do. Right. And I think it's important for me to do because I like to think of myself as I want to be useful. And like I said, a dozen times, I want to destroy the Federal Reserve. No, I want to peacefully, legally destroy the Federal Reserve Corporation. I want it destroyed because I consider it the source of all bad actions, all fucking evil on this earth. The faster we can make this happen, the happier we're all going to be. And so that's the message I push. I don't fucking hide it. I don't pretend. And you could think, well, that's fucking crazy. Okay. You could think that's crazy. There's a million other channels on fucking YouTube. You see ya. Goodbye. You know what I mean? No need for you to be here. And I've talked about the concept of a citadel. This is an idea in the Bitcoin space. You have all these fucking con artists going in the crypto space. Hey, I've been in this space for a while. Fucking jerk off with their buzzwords. But the idea of a citadel, an idea of an area of land, a geographical area that we control, right? And I've talked about this. I imagine it in the United States as a corporate entity where you would buy in, you would read a contract of how you need to behave, right? And you accept this, right? You put up X amount of Bitcoin as a stake holder, as a stake. You know what I mean? In your stake in this corporation. It's a private corporation in the United States based on on the Constitution. So it cannot be closed. Everyone, regardless of race, creed, color, blah, 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 can join. Anyone can join. However, these are the rules. If you break the rules, these are the consequences. And the consequences are you lose money to your neighbors. So, let's say it costs like 1,000,000 Satoshis, right? Because one Bitcoin is 100 million Satoshis. But we're going to say like to join costs 1,000,000 Satoshis. You get to live in this area and, we control everything, like everything, security, everything, sanitation, everything. We control all of that. And the rules are no loud noises after 10 o'clock at night. People got to sleep. People got to go to work. You know what I mean? So if you have a party, you can have a birthday party. You could have a live band. You could have guitars and whatever, have a fucking rock on, get drunk in your backyard. But at 10 o'clock, that shit has to end. Now, if it goes past 10 o'clock, your neighbors complain, there's got to be a process where you lose money for doing that, right? And you don't want to do that. So it's like when it's 9:30, you tell the band, yo, last set, this is it, peace out. Break it down, load the shit into the fucking vans and go back to wherever you live, right? So if there are immediate consequences for breaking the rules, people don't break the rules. And most of the complaints on the far right or even on the far left is that this group or that group breaks the rules and they get away with it. And why doesn't anyone punish them? Right-wing people are always like, why can't we punish them? We got to punish them. Like, why won't we get a leader who will smash them? Okay, that's really unlikely to develop, especially right now. But if you can create a legal construct that people voluntarily join, and if they fuck up, if they break the rules, they pay the price, and it's automatic. It's in the software, like a big multi-signature wallet where 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 people all put their Bitcoin in, and they live in this postal code. You know what I mean? And they decide when the garbage trucks come in and whatever. And if the potholes need to be filled, they figure out how that gets done and they pay for it. You know what I mean? And the politicians are really figureheads. They sign whatever needs to be signed for the outsiders. You know what I mean? As long as you play by the rules, everything's groovy. You fuck up, it costs you money. And the money just doesn't go away to you. It goes to make your neighbors richer. This is authoritarian, right? It's law and order on levels you guys don't think of, right? And I started thinking of this. I named this stream. Where's this name of the stream? Expanded Universe, which was a book by Robert Heinlein. Some people who you ever read science fiction, you know who Robert Heinlein is. Most famous movie ever made off of a Robert Heinlein novel was Starship Troopers. Wasn't terribly good. I didn't see it. But there was another one prior to that was okay. It was okay with Donald Pleasance and can't remember who else. But anyway, Expanded Universe was a big, thick. It was a bunch of stuff that Robert Heinlein wrote that wasn't his novels. Some of it was fiction, some was nonfiction, different opinion pieces, whatever. And Heinlein had this thing like, it's a straw man or what would you call it? There was an exchange of ideas between the elder who had real world experience and the idealistic youth who says, but in our Constitution, X, Y, and Z, and the war veteran, Robert Heinlein guy says, well, this Constitution you talk about, what is that? Well, it's illegal. It's our set of laws. It's a contract between the government and the people. And the elder would go, well, did you sign this contract, son? And you go, well, no, but it applies to all of us, doesn't it? And the idea was like, if you didn't sign it, you didn't agree to it. But that's a legal principle that's certainly throughout the United States and the Western world. If you signed it, you agreed to it, right? So the idea of a citadel, of a controlled area where here's the set of rules and you sign and agree that you're going to obey these rules or you will suffer this consequence. The consequence is you're going to lose money, right? We're not going to make moral judgments against you. We're not going, unless you break a bigger law, we're not going to clap you in fucking handcuffs and take you over and throw you in a cage. But fuck up and you're going to lose money. And you and your family are going to be poorer for it. This inhibits all the stupid shit. So if you won't be able to keep small hats out, but if they go, my name is Mortimer Lipschitz, and I think there should be a 50-foot menorah in the center of the residential area, it's going to be voted on automatically, like the way the Bitcoin miners vote on changes to Bitcoin. Same idea. If you get 100% agreement, then it goes through. If you don't get 100% agreement, it doesn't go through, and you lose money. So this keeps Mortimer Lipsitz from coming up with his brilliant ideas like, we're not going to sell pork in the supermarkets, or we got to put a 50-foot menorah in the middle of town square, right? Because he comes up with that idea, nobody goes for it, and he loses money, and he never opens his fucking mouth again. Right? This will be legal, and it will be based in the United States. Now, there's a Twitter guy I used to follow. The account is called Untapped Growth, whatever. The guy's like, we're going to buy land and cattle and shit in the West and blah, 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 Bitcoin, da, 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 da. And I'm like, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I'm down with that. People want food. They're going to need the hamburgers and steaks. Somebody's always going to be able to afford this. Like, what's up with that? Except you go to this guy's website, and he has a website, and they start saying stupid shit. I'm like, his Citadel concept isn't, let's get together with the money we have, the Bitcoin we have, and trade it for a small town or a fucking a residential development or a commercial development somewhere in the United States, right? We're going to purchase that, and then we're going to make a legal agreement where we're going to parcel that out to X number of whatever, right? And then, of course, everybody, like I said, agrees to live by these rules, or you lose money. So this guy doesn't talk about that. He's like, well, we're going to, as a Citadel concept, I swear to God, the guy said this, we're going to buy the island of Cyprus. And I was like, you're going to buy the island of Cyprus? How much fucking Bitcoin do you have? How much do you expect Bitcoin to fucking, like, this is already retarded shit. Why would you think outside the United States? 2, why go to that part of the world which is fucking unstable and dangerous? But no, we're going to buy the island of Cyprus. I says, but we sit down and we debate. And then somebody said, well, how would we stop the Turkish Navy from invading us? Probably wouldn't be too tough. I don't think the Turks have much of a Navy. But if you go to this guy's website, Untapped Growth, they're like, well, we would bribe half the Turkish Navy not to attack us. Yeah, that's not going to work. Listen to me. That's not going to work. People take shit from you because they're stronger than you and you're weaker, right? That's what they do. If I can take it from you, you have something of value I can take from you. You can't fight back. I'm going to do this. You know what I mean? If you hurt me so bad that I never want to go near you again, then I can't take your shit. That's kind of how the world works, right? It doesn't matter on the eastern part of the planet, the western part of the planet, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, it doesn't matter. That's how it works. So one, like this, and I look at this guy, I'm like, this guy's a crazy fucking stoner. And I made some beef, on Twitter, and he's all of a sudden 10 guys that come to defend him how much he's not a scammer. I don't even think he's a scammer. I think he's just a dumb stoner. You have to start with what's reasonable and doable and legal here in the United States, and then grow from there. If your ideas are good, if the way you design your community is good and valuable long term, then it's going to work and you'll expand. And if not, you'll die. You know what I mean? And this is a cutthroat way. Like, so if you have ideas that are absolutely retarded, but you're in love with them, and you can convince 1,000 other people to go along with it, and it all fails, then you fail. You know what I mean? You're going to have to start all over again. So that's what I think is going to happen when the money stops working. Bitcoin between now and then is going to skyrocket. Even though, what is it now? We got the Bitcoin's on sale. It's like $37,000. What a fucking sale! I wish I had some cash. I have none. I just bought a new battery for my car, and I need $1,000 worth of dental work in the next 2 weeks. So a little bit out of cash. Tried that in the chat. Trash can on street used to be overflowing for local wildlife. 2 years of COVID has seen a 90% decrease in humans in federal building district. Yeah, there's tons of deer all over the side of the road. Like there's like all these creatures that used to hide. You didn't see too much because there's a lot of human activity. They're all way out in places they never used to be. At times they never used to be there. It looks like whatever, maybe the 1950s or the 40s, whatever, wildlife wise. I because I'm driving up on 95 and I drive through a lot of sometimes obscure little airports. I do go to some back roads and country roads, and I'm like, holy shit, there's like 400 pounds of protein nibbling on fucking whatever they nibble on the side of the road. Stupid. I hate deer with a fucking passion. But yeah, the as human activity has shrunk, and I don't think it's going to expand that much. Gasoline's going up, right? You look at the kerfuffle with Russia. They're going to cut Ukraine in half. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. It's not going to be a nuclear war. Nobody cares. It's Jews fighting Jews and manipulating the financial markets, right? They're buying oil, options on fucking oil stocks going up. They're buying put options on the fucking Russian market going down. There's people making a gazillion fucking dollars in fiat off of this, or a gazillion rubles. While you have everyone's like, oh my God, is war really going to happen? Like I said last week, the Jews from Washington, D.C. are not going to nuke the Jews from Moscow. It's just not going to happen. And in the Ukraine, the president is a Jew himself, right? Zelensky's a Jew. This is all, stop believing this, Goy. Goy, this is a Semitic illusion. You know what I mean? It's much ado over nothing. You know what I mean? And they just said, a couple hours ago, Putin's going to meet with Biden in France or something. It's all fucking bullshit. It's all bullshit. You have to understand which ideas are valuable and which are likely to work in the future and which are not. That's a tough thing to do for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Even smart people. There was a dude, Eki Lux, back in the day, interviewed him. He was like some kid in engineering school called Charles something. He called himself Irreplaceable Charles. And he got in trouble because a bunch of woke Negroes said, like, white man, you the devils. Hey, listen, Whitey, you done be the devil. You done the terrible legacy of the slavery. And this guy's, he was like, he said, I love being white. White people invented everything, which is true. I don't know if he loves being white, but white people did invent 99.7% of all inventions on the face of this earth. However, the kid got in a whole bunch of trouble. And I think he got kicked out of university. And he got kicked off of Twitter, and he's on Gab. So he posted a bunch of stuff on Gab. I followed him on Gab. He re-gabbed me once, right? And because essentially what I said was this, like, all of politics is one group of people misbehaving and another group of people seeking redress. That's all it is, right? Some people broke the rules. Some people are looking to punish them or restore the balance. That's it. That's all of it. The reality is your value, right? How valuable are you to the community determines whether or not we want you and what do you cost us. Like the problem with blacks and Hispanics, particularly, but especially blacks, the criminality of American blacks is like 1,000, 1,200 times what it is for whites. It's like 800 times what it is higher for Latinos, even though that's a fucked up category. Their murder rate is through the roof. 97% of all gun violence in every major city in the United States is blacks and Hispanics. And of that, blacks are 85% or 90%. So the cost to police these fucking people is through the roof. It's not worth it. Like we cannot generate enough wealth to police these fucking monsters and live our own fucking lives with like running water and electricity. Like that's really where we are. It's that bad. But the people who control the politicians, who control the courts and the police and the prisons, they have different ideas. And they're going to run this fucking thing into the ground, right? They're going to run this thing into the ground. So, people say, oh, you're a racist, this and that. Listen, I don't give a fuck what your color of skin is, but you're a fucking monster. Every dude I see, every black dude I see, I think he's a rapist, a fucking murderer, or a drug dealer. And you know what? 85% of the time I'm right. And I don't feel fucking guilty about that. I know that that's fucking true. And so You said, well, okay, well, what do we do about this? I've joked around saying we're going to make all the blacks swim back to Africa with the Jew strapped to their back. All the blacks in America are not going to swim back to Africa with the Jew strapped to their back. As much as I would like to see that, I would go to the beach with the drink and I would cheer them on. But that's not going to happen, right? So there's going to be some other fucking solution. What's that solution going to be, right? And the solution is going to be, we are going to live in an area where we control the money and everything else. And if you cannot conform to our rules, you get spit the fuck out immediately like this. And we're gonna recreate a fucking life that we want to live. But it's going to have to be legal in American terms, which means you cannot exclude anyone based on whatever the fuck it is, or the rainbow bullshit. But the reality is, most of those people are incapable of maintaining the standards. So even if they do get in, they're going to lose what wealth they have and get spit back out. And there's going to be no one to blame because it's a private corporation and they can do whatever they want. Just like Google's a private corporation, they can ban you, wipe out your channel. Twitter's a private corporation. This legal principle that's operational today will continue into the future. I'm trying to think of, all right, what's going on today? Is this considered valid legally? Yes, it is. And how could that be used for our purposes, right? When I'm thinking from a Bitcoiner's point of view, because nationalism is bullshit, or we all have one or two genetic qualities in common. We all have brown eyes and we're right-hand dominant. Wow, so fucking what? That solves no problems. You have to find real solutions to real ongoing problems, right? That are automatic, that don't require more resources to solve the fucking problem than it's worth. So that's the kind of ideas I'm trying to push out there. And this kid, Irreplaceable Charles, is like, he's doing the whole fucking Hitler thing. And I'm like, listen, I can't, how many times I've been down this fucking rabbit hole? I said, listen, let me explain something to you. Now, I'm a high school dropout, and this kid that went to like some engineering school, some big school. I said, you think the fucking big secret of life is that Hitler was the good guy in World War II? First off, there's no good guys in war. There's no good guys in war. War is fucking horrible, and you're going to do all sorts of shit. The phrase, when Shakespeare said all is fair in love and war, means there's no rules. There's no virtue. There's no vice. All is fair. Everything is as long as you win. So you can't have that, right? The idea that this guy was the good guy in World War II because he's anti-communist. So what? You think he's the only anti-communist before or since? No. But you're in love with the idea that this guy was the secret good guy in World War II that nobody knows about. And you're going to somehow convince everyone in America that they are wrong, what they believe. Their fathers, their grandfathers, whatever, were the bad guys. And all their fucking, those photos, of grandpa and grandma getting married in World War II, they're the bad people, right? This is what you think you're going to do. You're going to convince tens of millions and hundreds of millions of Americans to piss and shit all over their own fucking grandparents' fucking graves or their parents' fucking graves and embrace a political philosophy from 115 years ago from a different fucking continent in a different language. You think that's going to happen, and you think that's going to happen tomorrow, and then good shit's going to happen after that. That's how fucking stupid you are. That's how fucking stupid you are. You know why? Because you have little tiny brains. Tiny brains. Okay? That's never going to happen. So I started beefing with this kid. Where was the fucking, and what did I do? Where's the thing? Where was it? This kid, I didn't even tell him I'm a high school dropout. I did not even tell him I'm a high school dropout, but I'm so dying to fucking tell him that. I wish I could tell him that. Like, listen, you lost the fucking argument to a high school dropout who drives a fucking 15-year-old Toyota up and down Highway 95 for $1.10 a mile. Fucking smashed this motherfucker. I fucking smashed him like he has never been hit. Understand, no one's handing you the world. If you really think the world and all the good in it is going to be handed to you on a silver platter, you are so fucking delusional that everything I say must sound like drops of pure reason. So I retweeted him. So he responds to me, whatever, dude. The fact that you think you know me from my social media posts shows that you live on the internet. Most of what I do happens IRL, having conversations with real people. Have fun trying to agitate people online. And so I just quoted him. I was like, smart of you to take the fucking loss right away. Because I'm going to fucking smash you. I'm going to leave you as a greasy red fucking smear on the sidewalk of the internet. Do you understand? I'm going to smash you. Everything you think and fucking believe forever. I'm going to make you put your fucking head in the fucking oven and gas yourself when I'm done with you, if that's possible. If that's possible, I'm going to do that, right? And I'm going to do everything I can from my side of the internet to make that happen. And then this was, what are you doing? Then like an hour later, like this guy, we talk about, the idea of living rent free. I'm living rent free in his head. Talk about fucking ownage. This is fucking owning this motherfucker. This kid is like, he must have been like bouncing his head off the fucking wall, autistically reeing, just screeching like a little autistic child on the floor. Come on, show up. Here it is. You see I circled this. Irreplaceable Charles reposted. Have you ever started to give serious considerations or get upset by someone's post, and then you see their username is like fartbox652 or whatever, and you're like, what am I doing? So this is his whatever, his response. It's not even his response. He has to use somebody else's response that is bullshit, of course. This was like 45 minutes or an hour after I had fucking hit him. Somehow I have the magical ability to punch you in the face through the internet. You know what I mean? I can bloody your nose. Somehow my fist goes right through the screen, boink, and then bloodies your nose on the other side of the internet, wherever that is. And I like doing that. You know what I mean? I like having that ability. I don't know why God gave me that ability, because I don't even believe in God. But he gave me that ability, and I use it as much as I can. Now, mostly what I'd like to do is have when the shit I post on Twitter and other fucking social media, I hope that Abe Foxman of the ADL sees it, and I hope that the fucking veins in his head explode and he dies of an aneurysm. That's what I hope for. I don't really know that I could cause that, but if I could, if my tweet or my retweet can just pop that fucking, just crank up his blood pressure just that much higher and make that happen, well, I would consider my life a success. So that's what I try to do. If I can possibly do that, that's what I want to do. And this thing with this kid, Irreplaceable Charles, listen, he's a jerk. He's lost in the sauce. He's a smooth brain who, again, you've noticed that elite power belongs to one group. Congratulations. You don't have any long-term solutions on how to fix this or how to minimize the damage that they're already doing, mind-blowing damage. But how do you minimize that in the future? Like, how do you warn people? Like, protect yourself. That's what I think I'm doing. And I think that's a noble thing to do. You can become a psychopath. That's great. Congratulations. You can't beat me in an argument. But you can say whatever you want to say. I think that for whoever can hear me and go, you know what, this guy's a fucking whack and he talks a lot of shit and whatever, and he's a jerk. But here's what he said that made sense. Here's what he said that matches reality. Here's what I can add to my fucking life that would improve it or make me safer from the bad acts of the elites. And, I'm going to do that. Jonathan Paul talking about his having to go to work. He's 3 days off and then a week off. I've literally worked. I'm coming up on my 7th year at my company. The only time I did not work was when a snowstorm or my car wouldn't fucking drive. 7 years, no vacation. And then, all you got to do is keep them from literally killing each other in your classroom, Mr. Pohl. That's all you have to do. There's nothing else. Get paycheck. Stand in front of the board and go, see this? This is history. These guys did this. These guys over here did that. Stop raping her. Excuse me, Pedro. Will you stop raping Maria? Thank you. And then these guys did this. Here's your reading assignment. See you next week. That's all you got to do. No, you know what I mean? And then ka-ching, get the check and whatever. Send the money off to Kyrgyzstan. That's what real work is like. That's what real work is like. Doing shit you would never fucking do voluntarily for money. So that's the real deal. I don't really want to sit in a little fucking Japanese car for 65 or 70 hours a week delivering fucking boxes. But that's what I got to do in order to fucking live indoors and eat hot food and pay for the fucking filling that I got to have in a couple of weeks. But you do what you got to do. You do what you have to do. You know what I mean? You think of the sacrifices people made. What about the caveman days? Your ancestors didn't give up in the caveman days. Every time I try and go to the tree and take a fucking piss in the morning, there's a saber-toothed tiger. He tries to fucking bite me. I got to run. And then I'm over by the mastodons and they're going to trample me. Like life is tough. Life is hard. And then you get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger if it's the caveman days. Would I knock those kids upside their heads? I might do that to 1 or 2 kids. The right kids that'll actually work. They'll actually respect you for doing that. You can't do it in front of video cameras, though. The right kids would actually respect you for doing that. But you can't just randomly do that. But whatever. The world is the way it is. Your purpose is to extract. You are forced to work for Zog bucks, right? But you don't have to hold them. You don't have to hold your wealth in them. I suggest you exchange it for something else. That's my suggestion, okay? Because in the future, when Zog bucks go to zero, you're going to want to have something. You don't want your wealth evaporated instantaneously because central bankers do what central bankers do. Tried that. When I traveled to the city Monday to Friday, that's the matrix. Everything else is the real world. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth for hundreds of millions of people. Hundreds of millions of people. Only beat the good kids because they will learn. The bad kids won't. That's it. I don't know. Yeah, I know I never heard that one, but it's not a bad idea. I don't know. My communications with the Korean world is a little bit slim, and I noticed that they do eat raw garlic a lot. So you do have to stand back further than is you're like the edge of what's socially acceptable. And it's not because they don't want you to talk to them, but they do eat garlic like fat people eat M&Ms. You know what I mean? They're like, it's crazy. Expensive, but worth it. Go to Korean barbecue. You ever gone to a Korean barbecue place? The beef short ribs is the best thing to order, but it's a lot. Korean barbecue is banging. I like Korean barbecue. The modern day ones has gas grills at the tables. The first one I ever went to, they had like these long metal rectangles that were filled with hot coals that they would, and the guy would have this weird carrier that they would put the hot coals around, and you could feel the heat on your legs and stuff. It's cool. It's fun, but a bit spendy. It's not cheap. Yeah, but I like Korean barbecue. Stainless steel chopsticks and stuff, all the little side dishes that they put around and stuff. Cool. Fun stuff. And Korean women, some very pretty women. Anyway, I got to look at my notes to see because I'm like so wandering so far off. Robert Heinlein stoners by the island of Cyprus. Yeah, the rest of it's like, listen, the rest of it is like ConocoPhillips. When I talk about like oil companies using flare gas to mine Bitcoin, ConocoPhillips isn't doing that, but they're selling the flare gas to Bitcoin miners. ConocoPhillips is the primary oil company in the Bacon Shale in the South Dakota, the shale oil deposits in the middle of the country. So they're selling that to Bitcoin miners. They're not doing it themselves, but they're reducing their carbon footprint by 63%, and they're making money off this thing. So indirectly, they're in the Bitcoin business. All the stuff with Russia. Russia is one of the top 10 exporters of agricultural fertilizer, and American agricultural fertilizer plants are somehow blowing up. I don't think it's the FBI doing it. I think it's the fact that they imported a bunch of third world people to work in fertilizer plants who don't understand the job or don't understand the seriousness of it or whatever, or they want the day off. So they're going to, they do something they're not supposed to do, and they end up blowing up the entire factory, killing 14 people, and 50,000 people in South Carolina are inhaling ammonia fumes or something like that. That stuff has kind of happened recently. Again, I don't think it's deep state blowing shit up at random. I think it's sub 100 IQ workers not really want to work 5-day weeks, and they fuck shit up, not realizing the consequences. That's what I think that is. And we're going to end up buying fertilizer from Russia. You know what I mean? The funniest thing about fucking Biden, what a disaster. This is like, when I said this is going to be a disaster, like of epic proportions, like you don't know. Biden says they're going to build, GM and all these other companies are going to build electric cars and then electric charging stations everywhere. Well, that sounds great. The problem is the batteries for the electric cars are lithium batteries. And the price of lithium is up like 400% in the last year. You heard that right. So the things you need to make the batteries, to make the electric cars go, the price has gone up 400% because China's the main supplier, but they don't want to use China. So they're trying to go to Serbia or Chile in South America. The problem is to set up the processing plant to turn the raw ore into useful battery stuff. And I don't know. I really don't know what that process is. That takes years, like years. So I don't know. The Biden administration is going to pour a shit ton of money into charging stations for cars, for electric cars that they can't make the batteries for because A, they don't have the lithium. B, the lithium is so fucking expensive. It makes the car, it makes the price of the car out of range for anyone, and no corporation can afford to sell a car for like 1/5 of what it costs to build it. This like train wreck of train wrecks is coming. That's what I try to tell people. And like, be smart, see this, you know what I mean? And protect yourself. That's all. That's all. What else? I think that's about everything. Yeah. And in the end of the day, China and Russia are going to win out over America because America is shooting itself in the foot and then smashing itself in the head with a hammer and then throwing itself down a sewer. And that's what we got. You know what I mean? I would just pray, if everyone wants to pray, I don't know, those religious people here, Holly's here, that we get an actual full-on 100% Black American on the Supreme Court, because this is the funny thing I thought of. Here's the thing: the Biden Supreme Court nominee is half Jewish. He's half Black, half Jewish. And I never thought, like, of all the time I spent on racist, sexist, misogynistic, Islamophobic, whatever social media, the gulag special that I'm on. Like, how come nobody ever came up with the term Jew-lotto, right? There's mulatto, like Richard Spencer used to say that, mulatto, right? The mulattoes should bow down to me. That's what Richard Spencer said. But the one that Biden wants to put on the Supreme Court is half Jewish, so that makes him a Jew-lotto, right? It makes her a Jew-lotto. You know what I mean? So why did we say Jew-lotto? I think we should get that out there on social media because people confuse it with gelato and it'll be funny. Maybe it won't be that funny, but I don't want a gelato on the the Supreme Court. I want 100% Aunt Jemima. I want fucking Francine Teresa, Tyrell Green the third. That's who I fucking want. I want a fucking fat black ass, so wide that it blocks up access to the Supreme Court for the next 25 years. You know what I mean? Like 100% pure American Negro. That's what I want. I don't want no half Jew. I don't want nothing like that. That's what I want. And if you think long term, that's the best possible outcome. That is the best possible outcome, because if they put somebody who's half Jewish on the Supreme Court, they're going to try and expand the Supreme Court 9, 12, 15 justices, whatever it is they need to do to overcome the Constitution. And the Constitution, as much as people love to shit on it, is not entirely dead yet. It's not entirely dead yet. So, and these things, again, if you're trying to think ahead of what's going to be built afterwards, these things have value, right? You have to build on what is culturally acceptable, what is legally acceptable, what is possible. You know what I mean? You have to deal with what's real, not what you want emotionally. And too many people on social media don't do that. So I want to throw out ideas that are like, is it legal? Is it doable? How do we engineer this? Is it possible? These ideas are important ideas when you're talking about what the future is going to look like. And again, like I said, every Negro swimming back to Africa with a Jew strapped to their back, that's a great fantasy. That's hilarious. It's fun to say. It'll get me thrown in the gulag if anybody clips this. But it's not going to happen, right? So, when you're done doing the free speech stuff and being funny and talking shit and just shit posting, and you want to think, okay, what can really be done? What's worth? How do we build this? Then my ideas start looking a lot better than buying an island on Cyprus and bribing an admiral from the Turkish Navy not to destroy us or something like that. Like, that's crazy stoner talk. You know what I mean? So understand who's talking to you and what they're talking about, and try to look at the idea from a more rational point of view and a more fact-based point of view. Anyway, where are we at? 1 minute. 1 minute. Are you crazy? 1 hour, 35 minutes. Down to 3 viewers. I think we're up to 6 viewers at one point. Huge numbers, huge, gigantic numbers. Look at me, what a social media star I am. Not true. Anyway, I'm going to bail on you guys. I'm going to end call stream, as Eki Lux would say. I got to find cool stuff to say, like the open and close things. I'm not good at this. Anyway, I'm going to call stream. Again, think about things right now. Bitcoin's crazy on sale. Nothing has changed. Ignore the Russia noise. Ignore the Canada noise. Other than understand, a lot of people know what works and what doesn't work anymore. And if you really understand that they hate you and want you dead, and you start acting appropriately, that means the stuff I talk about, not the crazy shit that other people talk about. Right? So, Jonathan Pohl, don't let anyone get murdered in your classroom. Holly, whatever. Keep, I know you're just an innocent baker, just an innocent baking person who holds no controversial opinions, who holds absolutely no controversial opinions. Trad Dad, listen, you got it. You're in the matrix. You're in the matrix, right? We all have to do. We all have to make a living, but make sure that that things aren't coming apart. You know what I mean? Like, look for what's coming apart and try not to be there when the whole fucking thing falls down. That is my point. Anyway, Holly, Jonathan Pohl, Trad Dad, Seamus Crawford, Judas Slychai even. Thanks for showing up, everybody. We will do this again next week, God willing, if I don't get killed by some crazy Negro in a white Cadillac or some other vehicle like I almost did on Saturday. And I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for showing up again, everybody.